Okay, everybody, so this is my spoiler review of the new Hulu film Fresh, starring Sebastian Stan, who plays Steve, and Daisy Edgar-Jones, who plays Noah. So, this film, I went in blind. All I did see was the trailer for it, which was a freaking amazing trailer. If you've seen it, props to the editor of that trailer for this film. It is so good. It will make you want to see the film. But they say there's this big twist halfway through, so that got me wanting to see this and what would this become, right? I've never seen anything with Daisy Edgar-Jones, so I was excited to watch it for that reason. I've heard only good things. I have not seen Normal People. I've only heard good things, but she totally lived up to the hype for me. She was so good, and I also might be my favorite performance of Sebastian Stan's here. I've seen him in stuff. I haven't been totally sold on how good of an actor he is yet, but this really sold me. I thought he was great, and that's the thing about this film. A couple of highlights for me were just on the base level, the two powerhouse performances by these leads were great. Also, in the acting terms of this film, the actress who plays the best friend Molly was also really good. I love when you see an actor for the first time, for me at least, and you are just like, who is this person? Because even in a role that's not even a major role, which becomes a big role as the film goes on, but she's just really good. You kind of could just tell when someone has it, and she definitely has it. So it's always exciting to see a new face that just crushes here. And what also stood out was the cinematography. I was really down with the director's choices of how they frame certain shots. I love how even just when we first saw the character of Noah getting drugged, the slow out of focus change from her point of view, nicely moving into her being fully out of it, which sometimes people can rush that or can come off silly. I liked her use of extreme close-ups. I thought they were all at the right beats, and that moment she would pull us further away from Steve, from Noah's perspective, when it got more distance and scary and more intimate, like the scene where they're eating dinner. Just all really clicked in that sense visually. However, this film is one of those films that I thought the script was really good the first 30 minutes, and I think there was an anticipation knowing there's going to be a big twist, right? So I was really hooked from the first 30 minutes. The two of them have great chemistry, and I was like, okay, what's the big twist? I'm excited. What's going to happen here? I thought it took its time, but I was still sold because I was enjoying the chemistry and how it was working up to that. And then what's bizarre, which I didn't expect about this film, was that once we got the big twist, it really wasn't that big of a twist. It's something we've seen a lot of times before. It kind of just becomes a hostile film. But it just got kind of boring. There's really not much to it than that. Like, it got boring. And that's something that could be a problem with the script for sure, where it's just kind of thin. Ironically, it's a movie about meat, but there wasn't much meat to this script at all. It kind of just becomes a series of really nice shots, really good acting, but not much plot happening here. And it's tough in hostile type movies like this where someone's trapped, and it's like a double-edged sword with how they did it, because then the film's really shot from an objective point of view, so it makes you kind of question, is Noah really following for Steve and becoming this monster, or is she playing it out to fool him and just being smart because she's knows what he wants, like the dancing and the sex and wearing the dress, which was a nice payoff from the beginning, date scene even. So, it turns out, yes, she's a smart playing him, which you could figure out easily. That's pretty obviously predictable. But because it went with that objective route, it might have suffered that it wasn't subjective from Noah's point of view in these tense moments and what she was thinking. I kind of missed kind of being in her head, but it was there to kind of make a suspense that, yes, you're wondering what's really going on here, what she's really plotting. But I don't know if that was enough to sacrifice. Maybe it could have been more interesting from just her perspective. Now, I like the twist that the wife was in on it with Steve. I took it as that she was a former victim, that they clearly were showing that half her leg was off and that she had probably been eaten by Steve, and that she was someone who did the opposite at the end of the day than Noah, and converted to being someone who is, like they say, the woman who is the worst, that kind of enables a man like Steve. That's in the film, but also metaphorically. Correct me if I'm wrong, though, if that had nothing to do with her, actually confirmed she was ever a victim for him. But that's how I read it. It was interesting. These clients that Steve were selling to not only ate these women, but they had a particular fetish where they had a picture of them, their name, would sniff their bra. That was interesting. That felt a little more different. I like a lot of foreshadowing they had where even in the beginning, when they're in the grocery aisle and they first meet Noah and Steve, they have the sign fresh meats behind her. They're showing meat being chopped up from the beginning. They show meat being hung in the beginning, and there's little lines even like, do you want something to eat or drink? And Steve's like, nope, just you. So they're giving you a lot of that. And, you know, it doesn't help someone like Steve that another Steve character is a total creep and weirdo. Just is not helping my name. I know that's a random thought, but I just had to get it off my chest. One of the better scenes at the later half of this film is when she is really eating this meat now. And the way Daisy Edgar-Jones has a standout moment, she's like, I just feel awful, I don't feel awful. Really fooling Steve here. And she plays on, again, that feelings he had for her, that he did have sex with her and he didn't with the other woman, and she played it perfectly. She was a smart character, which I liked, and she bites his wee off, which was pretty insane. Now, where it kind of gets too familiar stuff of recent times is just on the nose stuff, like when she shoots him and she says, come on, give me a smile, referencing to how he talked to her. That come on, give me a smile thing where a guy talks to a man like that, it's just been in so much stuff now. You saw it in Captain Marvel. I have nothing against it, but again, it's when you're making a point like that, it's so on the nose, you know? Like, just do it in a way that's more profound with showing than telling with a simple line like that. That's just kind of too easy for me. That's like just so surface level where you want more into that. So that kind of felt a little repetitive, things we've seen recently where I would have liked that kind of shown more in a unique way. I like they ended with the shot where it's on the phone, where it's a text from you up with Chad. And again, the film does a good job of showing you that struggle with modern dating today and that metaphorical part of it about women and how men treat them and how they should stick together. And it's scary how you really can't even trust strangers, especially with the online dating too. And the woman like the wife who enable men like this and this type of behavior. It's just to an extreme extent with the eating of people. I like that they had Sebastian Stan being this character who loves to dance. That was a nice tick they added to him. But with all this good stuff I'm saying, again, what really hurt is just the interest part of it, the pacing. It just is too damn slow in the middle here, and it's really slow up until that last eating scene. It's just kind of plotting along, and it just needed more plot. And I just think it did suffer because it wasn't totally from her point of view during the whole time in captivity. And I get the decision. It makes sense to keep that mystery up of what she was really planning, but I think that hurt it more than did good for the end of the day. I mean, there's so much potential here. I think there's potential for this director and the cinematographer. I'm excited to see what they do next. This seems like a nice plate, like a base that's like, okay, this was their okay, you know, movie they did, but something better is down the line. I see super potential for this director. So I like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, I look at this film as great cinematography, great two lead performances, and a great performance by the supporting actor who plays Molly. So it's just suffering from an empty plot with not enough meat to it. Has good ideas, has good themes, but again, even some points, like I said with the smile line, it could be a little more unique and more of something outside of the box and something we've seen just put on a plate everywhere. So I'm giving this one a 6.2. Let me know what you thought of it down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment, try to respond to as many as I can. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps me in so many ways you have no idea. It would really help me currently in my life. It just, I can't even explain, put into words. It's just so great if you do it, and I'll be so grateful. Please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for more of me. And I'll see you next time.